Your toes go numb while you're sitting down. Sharp pains shoot through your legs without warning. Your doctor says it's probably nothing serious, but what if there's something in your kitchen right now, something you consume daily that's silently attacking your nervous system? The next 18 minutes could be the difference between keeping your independence and losing your ability to walk safely. Let's talk about what's really happening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Robert. Today, we're going to discuss something that affects millions of older adults but is rarely explained properly: peripheral neuropathy and the hidden factor that makes it worse every single day. Now, I know you've probably heard that nerve damage is just part of getting older. You might have been told there's nothing you can do about tingling feet or numb hands. Maybe you've even been dismissed when you tried to explain how uncomfortable these sensations really are. But here's what most people don't realize. In many cases, nerve damage isn't random. It's not inevitable, and it's often triggered by something completely preventable, something that's probably sitting in your pantry or refrigerator right now. I've been working with seniors for over 2 decades, and one of the most frustrating things I witness is how often people are given the wrong explanation for why their nerves are failing. They're told it's genetics, they're told it's just age catching up with them, they're told to learn to live with it. In the majority of cases I've seen, none of that is actually true. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below telling me, have you experienced unusual sensations in your hands or feet? Do you ever wake up with burning or tingling? Maybe you've noticed your balance isn't what it used to be? Let me know where you're watching from and what symptoms you've noticed. And please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share critical health information like this every week to help you live stronger and healthier after 60. This channel exists to give you information that can genuinely change your quality of life. Section 1. Understanding the real problem. Let me tell you about Gerald. Gerald was 71 when he first came to see me. Active guy, loved gardening, still drove himself everywhere. He was the type of person who refused to slow down just because of his age. But for about a year, he'd been dealing with this strange burning sensation in his feet, especially at night. It would wake him up sometimes. He'd have to get out of bed and walk around just to get relief. During the day, his toes felt oddly numb. He described it as feeling like he was walking on cotton balls. Sometimes he'd get these shooting pains up his calves that would make him stop whatever he was doing and wait for them to pass. His previous doctor told him it was probably poor circulation, maybe just part of aging, nothing to worry about too much. They suggested compression socks and told him to elevate his feet when sitting. But Gerald wasn't satisfied with that answer. Something told him there was more to the story. When we started investigating deeper, we discovered something Gerald never expected. There was a specific dietary pattern, something he thought was actually good for him, something he'd been doing every single morning for years that was contributing to nerve deterioration. When we identified it and made targeted changes, Gerald's symptoms didn't disappear overnight. I want to be very honest about that, but they stopped getting progressively worse. And for someone dealing with neuropathy, stopping the progression is absolutely critical, because once nerve damage crosses a certain threshold, getting function back becomes exponentially harder. So here's the question I want you thinking about. What could possibly be damaging nerves in otherwise healthy seniors? People who don't have diabetes, who don't drink excessively, who generally try to take care of themselves? To answer that, we need to understand how nerves actually work and why they're so vulnerable to certain types of damage. Your nerves aren't like electrical wires. That's the analogy most people use, but it's not accurate. They're living tissue. They need constant oxygen supply, specific nutrients, and a stable chemical environment to function properly. Think of nerves like delicate plants. They need the right soil, the right amount of water, the right nutrients, and the right environment. Mess with any of those factors, and they start to wither. Unlike other tissues like skin that heals in days or muscles that recover in weeks, nerves heal extremely slowly. We're talking months, sometimes years, for significant nerve repair. And in some cases, once the damage is severe enough, the nerve cells simply don't regenerate. That means damage accumulates over months and years, often without you noticing anything wrong until it reaches a tipping point. And here's the uncomfortable truth that I need you to understand. By the time you start feeling symptoms like tingling, numbness, or burning, significant nerve damage has usually already occurred. The symptoms aren't the beginning of the problem. They're your body's alarm system telling you something has been going wrong for quite some time. Now, let me be clear about something important. The biggest threat to nerve health in seniors isn't some rare toxin or industrial chemical. It's not even primarily about alcohol, although that can certainly contribute to nerve damage over time. The real culprit is something far more common, something that many seniors are actually encouraged to consume regularly by well-meaning family members and even some healthcare providers who don't understand the neurological consequences. Section 2. The hidden poison. The single biggest poison destroying nerve health in older adults is chronic elevation of blood glucose. Now, before you think, but I don't have diabetes, stay with me. This is crucial. Here's what makes this so dangerous. You don't need a diabetes diagnosis for high blood sugar to damage your nerves. You don't even need to have blood sugar levels that would be considered high by conventional medical standards. You only need repeated episodes of elevated glucose, and millions of seniors experience these spikes multiple times every day without having any idea it's happening. Here's the mechanism, and I'm going to explain this in a way that makes sense. When blood sugar rises above normal levels, glucose molecules literally stick to nerve fibers and to the tiny blood vessels that supply them with oxygen and nutrients. This creates what's called glycation, basically, a chemical reaction that damages protein structures. Think of it like caramelization, but instead of happening to sugar in a pan, it's happening to the proteins in your nerve tissue. This triggers inflammation. It creates oxidative stress, which is essentially cellular rust, and it directly harms the protective myelin coating that surrounds your nerves like insulation around electrical wires. Over time, nerves lose their ability to transmit signals cleanly. The insulation breaks down, the wiring gets damaged, signals get scrambled or don't transmit at all. That's when you start noticing symptoms: tingling, then numbness, then burning sensations, then pain, then balance problems, then difficulty knowing where your feet are in space. But here's the critical point most people miss, and it's why so many cases of neuropathy go undiagnosed or misdiagnosed for years. Neuropathy doesn't suddenly appear. It develops silently, often for years, while blood sugar continues causing microscopic damage. It's like termites eating away at the foundation of a house. You don't see anything wrong on the surface until one day a beam collapses, but the damage has been accumulating the entire time. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been told you're pre-diabetic, or that your blood sugar is a little high but not concerning, or that you have borderline numbers? That's often exactly when nerve damage begins. Recent research published in major medical journals shows that prediabetes causes peripheral neuropathy almost as frequently as full diabetes does. The problem? Most people with prediabetes don't even know they have it. They have no obvious symptoms, they feel fine, their energy is okay, they're not excessively thirsty or urinating frequently. Meanwhile, their nerves are being damaged every single time blood sugar spikes after meals. And here's something that really troubles me. The standard medical approach waits until blood sugar numbers are high enough to diagnose diabetes before taking aggressive action, but by that point, nerve damage has often been progressing for years. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Dr. Robert, I eat pretty healthy. I don't eat junk food. I'm careful about sugar, and I believe you. I genuinely do. Most of my patients who develop neuropathy think they're eating well. They've cut out obvious sweets, they don't drink soda, they try to eat vegetables. That's exactly the problem. The blood sugar spikes come from foods and eating patterns that seem harmless, even healthy on the surface. Foods that are marketed as good for seniors. Foods that doctors sometimes recommend. Section 3. Where the poison hides. Let me walk you through how this damage happens step by step, because understanding the process helps you see where intervention is possible. Step 1. You eat something that causes blood sugar to rise rapidly. Step 2. Your pancreas releases insulin to move that sugar out of your bloodstream and into cells where it can be used for energy. Step 3. Over time, with repeated spikes, your cells become resistant to insulin's signals. They stop responding as efficiently. Step 4. Because cells aren't responding well, sugar stays in your bloodstream longer than it should. Step 5. Nerves, especially the longest ones in your feet and hands, are continuously exposed to damaging glucose levels because they're literally bathed in your bloodstream. Step 6. The tiny blood vessels feeding these nerves, called vasa nervorum, become damaged by the constant glucose exposure. Step 7. Oxygen delivery drops. Nerves begin to starve. Waste products build up. The nerve tissue starts to break down, and because this happens gradually, over months and years, people rarely connect. Their dietary habits to nerve symptoms that show up later. They say things like, "It just started out of nowhere last year," when in reality the process has been building for 5, 10, sometimes 15 years. So where exactly does this blood sugar damage come from in everyday life? Let me break down the major sources, and I want you to really pay attention here because one of these is probably affecting you. Source number 1. Liquid sugars. This is the number one offender I see in my practice. Fruit juice, sweetened coffee drinks, so-called health smoothies from juice bars, sports drinks, vitamin waters, even those green juices that are supposed to be super healthy. When sugar is in liquid form, it enters your bloodstream at lightning speed because there's no fiber to slow absorption down. Think of fiber like a brake pedal on sugar absorption. When you remove the fiber by juicing or blending, you're removing the brakes. This creates sharp, dramatic spikes that directly harm nerve tissue. Seniors are often told juice is easy nutrition, especially if they have trouble eating solid foods or if they've had dental work done or if they're dealing with digestive issues. Family members mean well when they bring orange juice or make smoothies for aging parents. But in reality, from a nerve health perspective, it's one of the fastest ways to cause damage. I've had patients drinking a large glass of orange juice every morning thinking they were doing something healthy. Meanwhile, that single glass was spiking their blood sugar higher than a candy bar would. Source number 2. Refined carbohydrates eaten by themselves: bread, cereal, crackers, white rice, pasta, bagels, muffins especially. When eaten without protein or healthy fats, these break down into glucose very quickly in your digestive system. Seniors are often told to eat easy-to-digest foods, particularly if they have gastrointestinal issues or if they're recovering from illness. But easy digestion usually means rapid sugar release into the bloodstream, and that sugar floods your system and coats nerve tissue in glucose molecules that stick and cause damage. Let me give you a common example: having toast and jam for breakfast, or cereal with skim milk, or oatmeal with honey and raisins. These seem like reasonable, even healthy breakfast choices, but they're all primarily carbohydrates with very little protein or fat to slow absorption. Your blood sugar spikes dramatically, stays elevated for longer than it should, and your nerves pay the price. Source number 3. Constant snacking throughout the day. This is a pattern I see frequently with seniors who've been told to eat small, frequent meals. When you graze all day long, a cracker here, a piece of fruit there, a small snack every couple hours, insulin levels stay elevated constantly. Your body never gets a break, your nerves never get a recovery window. There's no time for cellular repair mechanisms to work. Nerves need periods of metabolic rest to stay healthy. They need time when insulin is low and inflammation can settle down. Constant sugar exposure keeps them in a state of chronic inflammation and continuous damage. Source number 4. Medication-induced nutrient depletion. This one surprises most people because nobody talks about it. Certain common medications can quietly worsen nerve damage by interfering with nutrient absorption, particularly B vitamins, that are essential for nerve health. Acid-blocking medications like proton pump inhibitors (PPIs), these are among the most commonly prescribed medications for seniors. They block stomach acid, which seems helpful for reflux, but stomach acid is necessary to absorb vitamin B12. Some diabetes drugs, particularly metformin, can also deplete B12 over time. Certain cholesterol medications can interfere with CoQ10 production, which affects nerve energy metabolism. B12 is absolutely essential for maintaining the myelin sheath that protects nerve fibers. It's like the plastic coating around electrical wires. Without adequate B12, that protective coating breaks down. Nerves become fragile and start misfiring. Signals get confused, symptoms develop. Let me tell you about Margaret because her story illustrates this perfectly. She came to me at 69 with severe numbness in both feet. She'd been dealing with it for 3 years, and it had been getting progressively worse. She could barely feel the ground when she walked. She'd started using a cane because she was afraid of falling. Multiple doctors had blamed aging or circulation problems. One suggested it might be spinal stenosis. Another said maybe it was arthritis affecting nerves. When we tested her nutrient levels, we found she was severely deficient in B12. Her levels were in the range where permanent neurological damage becomes likely. The cause wasn't her diet. She ate plenty of meat, fish, and eggs, all good sources of B12. It was a medication she'd been taking faithfully for acid reflux for over 5 years. A PPI that her doctor had prescribed and just kept refilling without ever checking nutrient levels. Once we corrected the deficiency with high-dose B12 supplementation and worked with her doctor to adjust her medication approach using alternative reflux management strategies, her nerve damage stopped progressing. Not reversed completely, some of the damage was permanent, but it stopped getting worse, and that made an enormous difference in her quality of life, her confidence walking, and her independence. She was able to put the cane away within a few months. Section 4. The tipping point. Here's something crucial to understand about nerve damage. Neuropathy is rarely caused by just one factor in isolation. It's usually a combination: blood sugar toxicity, chronic inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, poor circulation, and sometimes other factors like toxin exposure or autoimmune processes. But elevated blood sugar is the accelerant. It's what turns a small problem into a progressive, debilitating condition. It's the difference between mild occasional symptoms and severe life-altering nerve damage. This matters because nerves have what I call a tipping point. Early damage might cause mild tingling that comes and goes, maybe some occasional numbness that you barely notice. These are warning signs you can still respond to effectively. Moderate damage causes more consistent symptoms: burning at night, numbness that's present most of the time, some balance concerns. Advanced damage causes constant pain that interferes with sleep and daily activities, severe balance problems that increase fall risk dramatically, muscle weakness because nerves can't properly signal muscles, loss of independence because you can't trust your feet, and here's the hard truth that I need to be honest with you about. Once nerve cells die, they are extremely difficult, sometimes impossible to regenerate. Nerve regeneration is one of the slowest healing processes in the human body. We're talking about millimeters of regrowth per month under optimal conditions. That's why catching this early and stopping the damaging process is so absolutely critical. The earlier you intervene, the more nerve tissue you can preserve, and the better your long-term outcome will be. Let me be very clear about something, because I don't want to give you false hope, but I also don't want you to feel hopeless. Neuropathy is not always reversible. Some nerve damage, once it's occurred, is permanent. The nerve cells have died and they're not coming back, but in most cases, neuropathy is preventable from getting worse. And stopping progression alone, just stopping it where it is right now, can preserve your mobility, your independence, and your quality of life for many years to come. Think about it this way. If you have mild symptoms now and you can prevent them from becoming severe symptoms, you've essentially prevented years of suffering and maintained your ability to do the things you love. If you're finding this information valuable, please hit that like button. It helps this video reach more people who desperately need to hear this message. YouTube's algorithm pays attention to engagement, and your like could help this video reach someone whose life could be changed by this information. Section 5. Protecting your nerves. So if blood sugar toxicity is the poison, what's the antidote? What actually protects nerves? And what practical steps can you take right now today to stop damage from progressing? Most people expect complicated answers when they ask me this. They expect extreme diets with foods they can't pronounce, expensive treatments, miracle supplements that cost a fortune, complex protocols that require major lifestyle upheaval. The truth is simpler, and that's exactly why it gets overlooked. Simple doesn't sell. Simple doesn't sound impressive. Simple doesn't make for good marketing, but simple works. Step number 1. Stabilize blood sugar. Don't just lower it. This is important to understand. I'm not talking about aggressively lowering blood sugar to very low levels. I'm not talking about chasing perfect numbers on your glucose meter. I'm talking about keeping blood sugar steady throughout the day. Nerves don't need perfection. They need consistency. They need to avoid the dramatic ups and downs that cause damage. Every sharp spike in blood sugar is like a small chemical burn to nerve tissue. Every time sugar surges, damage occurs. Fewer spikes equals less damage. It's that straightforward. Here's the single most important Eating rule I teach, and if you only remember one thing from this video, remember this. Never eat carbohydrates alone, not fruit by itself, not bread by itself, not crackers as a snack, not cereal for breakfast without significant protein. When you eat carbs alone, they hit your bloodstream too fast. Sugar rises sharply, insulin urges to deal with it, and during that spike, nerve repair mechanisms shut down and damage occurs. But when you eat carbohydrates with protein or healthy fat, absorption slows dramatically. The exact same food that harms nerves when eaten alone becomes much safer when combined correctly. This isn't about eliminating carbs, it's about eating them intelligently. Let me give you a real-world example of how powerful this simple change can be. Thomas, age 76, came to see me because his legs felt weak by mid-afternoon, every single day. He had burning feet at night that disrupted his sleep. He had numb toes during the day that made him feel unsteady. He was starting to worry about falling. He'd already had one close call on the stairs. He thought he was eating healthy and doing everything right. Every morning he drank a large fruit smoothie that his wife made for him. Banana, mango, orange juice, a handful of berries, and a little bit of yogurt. It was delicious. It seemed healthy. It was easy to consume, and it was absolutely destroying his blood sugar control. What he didn't realize was that all that liquid sugar, despite coming from fruit, was hitting his bloodstream like a tidal wave before his body had any protection. We eliminated the morning smoothie, replaced it with scrambled eggs cooked with vegetables, and a small side of berries eaten after the eggs. He could still have fruit, we didn't take that away, but we changed when and how he ate it. Within 3 weeks, his nerve pain decreased noticeably. His balance improved. His afternoon energy lasted longer. His sleep quality improved because he wasn't waking up with burning feet. Nothing magical happened. No expensive treatments. No special supplements at first. We simply stopped repeatedly poisoning his nerves with glucose spikes. Step number 2. Eliminate liquid sugar completely. This is non-negotiable if you're serious about protecting your nerves. No juice, no sweetened drinks, no smoothies, even natural or organic ones. 100% fruit juice is pure sugar without the protective fiber that would normally slow its absorption. Fiber is what slows down sugar release and protects nerves from sharp spikes. When you remove the fiber through juicing or excessive blending, remove the protection. If you want fruit, eat it whole, in small amounts, and never on an empty stomach. Fruit eaten after a protein-rich meal is far safer than fruit as a snack because the protein and other foods slow down sugar absorption. An apple eaten by itself at p.m. will spike your blood sugar. That same apple eaten after lunch with chicken and vegetables will have a much gentler effect. Step number 3. Prioritize nerve protective nutrients. Nerves require specific nutrients to maintain their structure and function. Vitamin B12, essential for myelin sheath protection. This is probably the most important nerve nutrient. If you're over 60 or taking certain medications, you should have your B12 levels checked regularly. Magnesium supports proper nerve signaling and reduces cramping and twitching. Many seniors are deficient in magnesium, especially if they take diuretics. Folate B9 works synergistically with B12 to protect nerve tissue and support repair processes. Alpha-lipoic acid, a powerful antioxidant that reduces oxidative stress in nerves. Some studies show it can improve neuropathy symptoms, particularly in diabetic neuropathy. Vitamin B6, important for nerve function, but be careful, too much B6 can actually cause nerve damage. This is a case where more is definitely not better. These nutrients don't cure nerve damage that's already occurred, but they help stabilize and protect what remains. They support whatever healing capacity your body still has. Important caution: more is not better with nutrients, especially with nerve health. Some vitamins, especially B6 in very high doses above 100-200 mg daily, can actually cause or worsen nerve damage. This is why random supplementation without testing or guidance can be dangerous. Always work with your healthcare provider before starting supplements, especially if you take medications or have existing health conditions. Blood tests can reveal what you actually need rather than guessing. Step number 4. Reduce chronic inflammation throughout your body. Inflammation sensitizes nerves and amplifies pain signals. It turns mild nerve irritation into severe burning or stabbing pain. Highly processed foods, refined seed oils like soybean, corn, and cottonseed oil, and excess sugar all fuel inflammatory pathways in your body. On the other hand, foods like fatty fish rich in omega-3s, extra virgin olive oil, colorful vegetables, and anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric and ginger help calm these inflammatory pathways. Less inflammation means quieter nerves and less pain. Step number 5. Move gently and regularly but smartly. You don't need intense exercise to protect nerves. In fact, extreme exercise when you already have nerve damage can sometimes worsen symptoms. What nerves need is circulation, consistent blood flow that delivers oxygen and nutrients while removing waste products. Gentle walking, especially after meals, helps lower blood sugar and improves blood flow to nerve tissue. Even 10 minutes makes a measurable difference in post-meal blood sugar levels. Walking after dinner can prevent the nighttime blood sugar elevation that often contributes to burning feet at night. Movement is medicine when done correctly and consistently. Section 6. Taking action. Let me give you a simple, practical to week action plan that you can start implementing today. Week 1-2. Foundation changes. Remove all liquid sugar from your diet. No juice, no sweetened drinks, no smoothies. Pair every carbohydrate with protein or healthy fat. Make this automatic. Eat fruit only after meals, in small portions, never as a standalone snack. Start reading labels and become aware of hidden sugars in healthy foods. Week 3-4. Building on the foundation, add a 10-minute walk after meals when possible, even if it's just around your house or apartment. Request a B12 test if you haven't had one recently, especially if you take acid-blocking medications. Notice any changes in symptoms. Less nighttime burning, better sleep quality, improved balance, more energy. Keep a simple symptom journal to track changes. Your memory of symptoms isn't always accurate. Many people notice meaningful improvements within just a few weeks of making these changes. Even small changes matter tremendously because they tell you the damage isn't permanent yet. They tell you that your nerves still have healing capacity. Here's something I need to say very clearly because there's a lot of misleading information out there. Anyone promising a miracle cure for neuropathy is not being honest with you. There is no magic pill, there is no secret supplement that reverses all nerve damage overnight. Anyone selling that is taking advantage of desperate people. But, and this is equally important, anyone telling you nothing can be done, that nerve damage is permanent and irreversible and you just have to live with it, is also wrong. There's a wide middle ground where real, meaningful progress happens. Neuropathy often results from years of accumulated damage. It makes sense that improvement takes time, patience, and consistent action. But stopping the poison, stopping the ongoing damage is always the crucial first step. Everything else builds on that foundation. Your nerves are precious and irreplaceable. They allow you to feel the world around you, to move confidently, to maintain balance, and to stay independent. They're what let you feel your grandchild's hand in yours. They're what help you navigate stairs safely. They're what allow you to enjoy walking without fear of falling. Once nerves are damaged beyond a certain point, recovery becomes incredibly difficult and sometimes impossible. But if you catch it early, if you remove the damaging factors, and if you give your body what it needs, you can often stop progression and preserve what matters most: your quality of life, your mobility, your confidence, and your independence. Before you go, I want to hear from you. This channel is a community, and I learn from your experiences. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you experiencing any nerve symptoms like tingling, numbness, or burning? Have you been told it's just aging and nothing can be done? Have you tried eliminating liquid sugars or pairing carbs with protein? What changes have you noticed? I read every comment and I respond to as many as I can. Your experiences help other people in this community who are going through similar struggles. And if this video helped you understand what's really happening to your nerves, please share it with someone who needs it. Share it with a family member who's experiencing symptoms. Share it in your community groups. Share it with friends who might benefit. So many people are suffering needlessly because they've been told nothing can help or because they don't understand what's causing their symptoms. Now, here's what I want you to do next. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now. It covers another critical health topic that could dramatically improve your daily life and well-being. That video dives into related topic and gives you practical strategies you can implement immediately. And don't forget to subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you never miss potentially life-changing information like this. I release new videos every week covering the most important health topics for people over 60 topics that can genuinely improve your quality of life, your independence, and your longevity. I'm Dr. Robert. Stay informed, stay proactive, and remember you have far more control over your health than you've been led to believe. Your body has remarkable healing capacity when you give it the right conditions. Thank you for watching, thank you for being part of this community, and I'll see you in the